report, and we're working to deliver a very comprehensive response.
The member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Defence Industry, representing the Minister for Defence. Will the Minister outline to the House why a strong, stable and transparent policy approach is important to ensure that we defeat our enemies abroad so that we can be safe at home? How could alternative approaches jeopardise our national security?
The Minister for Defence Industry, representing the Minister for Defence.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Corangamite for her question. And she, like this side of the House, takes national security issues very seriously, Mr Speaker. And as one of my colleagues called out, it's a good question. It is a good question because it's very important, Mr Speaker, to be consistent in your approach to national security issues. On this side of the House, we've always sought to do so, and in many occasions the Labor Party has sought to try and mirror that consistent approach, Mr Speaker. So it surprised many across the political landscape when the Leader of the Opposition rehabilitated Senator Dastyari so quickly after he resigned for the first time over the issues to do with national security, Mr Speaker. I call him Senator Dastyari. Some people have been rude enough to call him Szechuan Sam, which I think is very wrong.
The Leader of the House will withdraw.
I do withdraw, Mr Speaker. I'm simply pointing out how rude it is for people to attach these epithets
I'll just say to the Leader of the House.
I'll
just say to the Leader of the House, if he points it out again, whether
I promise
he's pointing,
I won't point it out again.
That's very good, because we won't be hearing from you anymore for the rest of the answer.
Mr Speaker, but Senator Dastyari not only contradicted government policy and Labor policy at that time, Mr Speaker, he also incredibly asked the Chinese donor, who is at the centre of current controversies, to pay for his personal debts. Now, this seems to have been lost on many in the Labor Party. There is a difference between political donations and the payment of personal debts, Mr Speaker. But Senator Dastyari, it is the difference between sweet and sour. It's the difference between sweet and sour, Mr Speaker. It's a very significant difference, Mr Speaker. And then, more recently, of course, we found out that Senator Dastyari, they're bringing out the big guns again. They're bringing out the big guns on Mr.
The member for Corio on a point of order. He'll state the point of order.
Yes, thank you, Mr Speaker. On a point of order, the question—
No, the member for Corio needs to state the point of order.
Well, the point of order is relevance, Mr Speaker.
The member for Corio
well, the question talked about—
The member for Corio will resume his seat. The Leader of the House—
Better on Pyne and Miles, Mr Speaker, than he is in the House, I can tell you that. But, Mr Speaker, the point about the lapses of Senator Dastyari's approach to these matters and the most recent revelations concerning his